neck stretched out until it reached the far side of the ditch, when the beast lowered his head and permitted the beautiful fairy to leap to the ground. Woot made the queer journey next, and then the Tin Soldier, and then the Tin Woodman went over, and all were well pleased to have overcome this serious barrier to their progress. "Now, Soldier, cut the hay," said the Scarecrow's head, which was still held by Woot the Wanderer. "I'd like to, but I can't stoop over with my bent leg without falling," replied Captain Fyter. "What can we do about the leg, anyhow?" asked Woot, appealing to Polychrome. She danced around in a circle several times without replying, and the boy feared she had not heard him. But the Rainbow's Daughter was merely thinking upon the problem, and presently she paused beside the Tin Soldier and said: "I've been taught a little fairy magic, but I've never been asked to mend tin legs with it, so I'm not sure I can help you. It all depends on the goodwill of my unseen fairy guardians, so I'll try, and if I fail, you will be no worse off than you are now." She danced around the circle again, then laid both hands upon the twisted tin leg and sang in her sweet voice: "Fairy powers, come to my aid! This bent leg of tin is made. Make it straight and strong and true, and I'll render thanks to you." "Ah," murmured Captain Fyter in a glad voice, as she withdrew her hands and danced away, and they saw he was standing straight as ever, because his leg was as shapely and strong as it had been before his accident. The Tin Woodman had watched Polychrome with much interest, and he now said: "Please take the dent out of my side, Polly, for I am more crippled than was the soldier." So the Rainbow's Daughter touched his side lightly and sang: "Here's a dent by accident. Such a thing was never meant. Fairy powers so wondrous great make our dear Tin Woodman straight." "Good!" cried the Emperor, again standing erect and strutting around to show his fine figure. "Your fairy magic may not be able to accomplish all things, sweet Polychrome, but it works splendidly on tin. Thank you very much." "The hay! The hay!" pleaded the Scarecrow's head. "Oh, yes, the hay," said Woot. "What are you waiting for, Captain Fyter?" At once the Tin Soldier set to work cutting hay with his sword, and in a few minutes there was quite enough with which to stuff the Scarecrow's body. Woot and Polychrome did this, and it was no easy task, because the hay packed together more than straw, and as they had little experience in such work, their job, when completed, left the Scarecrow's arms and legs rather bunchy. Also, there was a hump on his back which made Woot laugh, say it reminded him of a camel. But it was the best they could do, and when the head was fastened onto the body, they asked how the Scarecrow felt. "A little heavy and not quite natural," he cheerfully replied, "but I'll get along somehow, until we reach a straw stack. Don't laugh at me, please, because I'm a little ashamed of myself, and I don't want to regret a good action." They started at once in the direction of Mount Munch, and as the Scarecrow proved very clumsy in his movements, Woot took one of his arms and the Tin Woodman the other, and so helped their friend to walk in a straight line. And the Rainbow's Daughter, as before, danced ahead of them, and behind them, and all around them, and they never minded her odd ways, because to them she was like a ray of sunshine.
End of chapter 19.